welcome to another On Stage podcast. How are you today? Or should I do a shout out to Muiwa Adebi from the Day In and Day Out podcast, which is, you should go check it out. It's on YouTube, and you just type in Day In and Day Out. And we are going to do a thing what he usually does. He says, "Hello, my life warriors, and wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Day In and Day Out podcast." And then he goes, "Woo!" And I always know when I hear "Welcome to the Day In," I just know Day In, Day Out, and woo. So I'm not going to do it, but that's a shout out. Also, shout out to Josh Bolton from the Josh Bolton Show, and to Kylie Montagne and you should check her out, her podcast out. Sorry, Talk. It's called the Talk of Fame podcast. So you should check her podcast out, and she's going to be on our show in a couple of weeks, along with some wonderful people that we have. It's amazing just how this podcast is just suddenly blown up. So today we're going to talk about our guest is going to be, her name is Kris Keppeler, and she's a narrator, actor, voice actor, and writer. And after discovering her singing voice in junior high, she's never quit using her voice to amuse and instigate. And she's impersonated a cat, a prince, a princess, a witch, a dragon, and a president with her voice, and narrated, produced over 50 audiobooks. Can't believe it. Like, I went and checked out all her voice overs and everything. She's excellent. I just can't believe it. So as soon as she comes on, we are going to introduce her. But in the meantime, I want to say, hope you are all well out there and things are working out for you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. All you have to do is just hit the subscribe button for more content, and you will get that content. So looking forward to we got sopranos, tenors coming up. We have celebrities. It's excellent. Just love this podcast. Love the people I talk to. Make them feel comfortable, make them feel relaxed, and just, it's just amazing. So what we're going to do now is we are going to introduce Kris Keppeler. You're going to love her very much. And here she is, Kris Keppeler. Hello.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
I'm glad you made it.
Yes, I figured it out.
You just had to click on the link and you're in.
Yeah. Of course, yeah, but my
it's not a Zoom link. The Zoom link is quite large. I don't know why they just don't change it for one little link. Yeah. The link is just so small. You just click on it, and yes. I like it better than the Zoom. But Zoom everything is different. Like, hey, maybe I can be a voice actor. I can be the commercial for the new updated Zoom. Welcome to the new updated Zoom. The link is smaller, and all you do is click once, not twice. You're in. Oh. So, how are you? Yeah. Thank you very much for being on our show.
Well, thanks very much for having me. I'm kind of tired today. It's been a long week.
It's been a long week for me too, and I noticed that my water wasn't coming out of my sink properly, and the toilet was flushing fine. The sink in the bathroom did not turn off, even though I had the tap on off.
Oh no! Oh, that's scary.
So what happened?
That's scary.
I was looking all over for the notice from the senior management that they always say that they're going to do something, like they're going to shut the water off.
Yeah.
And I was looking for it. I didn't find it. I found one dated March when they did it last time. I'm thinking, what's going on? So I immediately wrote an email to them, and instantly they're like, we didn't know that. And then they put out a notice saying, this is what happened. I'm like, really? I mean, I'm the only one that discovered it? You guys not need water in this place? I'm the only one.
Oh my gosh.
And immediately, Kris, when I pressed the send button, they fixed it almost immediately. So I had to send in another saying, listen, can you just cancel this? Because it just started to come on. Now it's off again. So what are you going to do?
Gosh. Wow, sounds like something weird's going on.
Something weird is going on.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for being on our podcast. Just have to make sure that I'm here. Yes. So before we start, how are you? Like, what did you do today?
Oh my goodness. What did I do today? Let's
Did you
see. I started cooking some food for the dogs. I make our dogs wet food.
really?
Yeah. And had pancakes for breakfast with strawberries. The strawberries that I'm getting are really good.
Nice.
And walked the dogs and looked for freelance work and yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, we want to talk about your work because I find your
Yeah.
biography, I find your podcast. I found that you had been on so many podcasts, and it's just interesting. I heard a lot of your voiceover work. Listening to it, I like whenever I hear someone's voice, I like to close my eyes and because it's a lot easier to understand the voice when you're not seeing the actual person's face, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes. And I've done a lot of voice work too. I've done it on my little app called Small with Small to sing, but I can also do a lot of voice acting as well, which I enjoy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's fun.
It is very fun. So before we start, can you give everyone a lowdown? Should I say lowdown? A high down of who you are?
Yeah. I'm an audiobook narrator, producer, and consultant, writer, and voice actor, and also a podcaster. My podcast is Does This Happen to You? And I'm also an actor, and I have an IMDB page.
Yes, I noticed that. There's a lot of work you've done. I believe that's you when it was listed under a Star Wars voice thing as well, was it? I think.
No, not a Star Wars. I have voiceover credits for a very scary video game.
Oh no. Is there a reason why you did that video game?
Well, my part isn't that scary. I'm one of the martyrs. So it's basically a lot of screaming and being tortured and sound like you're being tortured and stuff. And then just depressing dialogue and but hey, it's great, to have that credit on IMDb. It was kind of fun, to do the work. So because I love to do character work, even if it's sort of weird.
Yeah, and I heard you sing too. You've got a fantastic voice. That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't sing very much now. I spend most of my time narrating, but yes, I used to sing. Yes.
But it's incredible. I loved how you sounded, and I was just transfixed on your voice, thinking, "Wow,
thank you.
This is awesome." So I'm reading a lot about what you did. That you're an actual you produce an award-winning weekly storytelling podcast about life and befuddlement.
Yeah,
tell us about that.
Well, that's called Does This Happen to You? And I just love telling funny stories about the weird things that happen to me. It got started as the weird things that happened to me at the gym, and that was actually a solo show that I did. And then I thought, I can tell stories as part of podcasting. And so I started trying to write my own funny stuff, but it's like, I can't write enough to keep up with a weekly podcast. So, I looked for other stories from writers, originally some bloggers that I knew, and got started that way. And now I get most of my stories from writers on medium.com. And I'm trying to expand that right now, looking for a series, a humorous series that I can, make into multiple episodes.
And
so, yeah.
Do they tell you how you need to do the character, or do you just give your own spin?
Do it all myself. Mostly, most of the stories are first-person nonfiction, and there's not a lot of characters. Usually, sometimes there is, but it's mostly narration. There's not a lot of dialogue usually. So yeah, but no, if there's a character, I do the character. Yes.
Yeah, I noticed that you said that you played an aunt, a mom, the church lady. Do you do the? Which church lady do you do? The one from Saturday Night Live that Dana Carvey does?
No, I did my own original church lady. That was for a film. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What film was that? It's
It's called Two Pictures.
Two Pictures.
Yeah.
Oh.
Two Pictures. Yeah, you'll find it on my IMDB page.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
What
I
was
know
it
I've
like?
also done one of the most challenging thing I did as far as characters go was a children's book that had I had to do 10 different animals.
Oh.
And some of them were not too hard, a snake and a bee, but another was an anteater. Okay, what the heck does an anteater sound?
An anteater doesn't have a voice, just much like, well, no.
Well, I had to come up with one. So it have a long tongue, so my anteater talk like this.
I have no idea. No, I don't know if an anteater actually had a sound. I always thought that wild donkey didn't speak, and then you hear it,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you can't edit that out. So yeah, and a witch. Like, what kind of voice did you give to the witch? Like some sort of witchy poo, sort of Wicked Witch of the West?
Oh yes, I'm such a wonderful witch.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah, I remember the voice act I did. I did the there's a scene from the Suicide Squad, and I did that scene in Arkham Hospital, mental hospital.
Uh-huh.
And that's when Harley Quinn meets the Joker for the first time.
Uh-huh.
But I don't like the Jared Leto Joker voice.
Oh yeah, his is kind of different, isn't it, from most Jokers? Yeah.
So I did the Jared Leto Joker and the Heath Ledger Joker voice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody did the Harley Quinn, was really good. So yes. So is this what is your favorite part about voice acting? Is it voice acting? Is it acting?
I really love. I'm still an active actor. In fact, that's what I was doing some of that this week. But I really love voice acting simply because it marries my love of singing and acting. Yeah. So I use my singing technique every time I step in front of a mic, and especially if I'm doing an audiobook.
Do you, when you play the aunt or maybe the princess, do you use the Kris Kepler voice, or do you use someone who's not even you, like a princess? How would you do the princess? Like what?
A prince? The prince?
How would you do a princess voice?
Oh, the princess. Oh. I'm so lovely, aren't I? Oh, look at this face.
Yeah, and is the prince the same way?
Oh no, princes are. Oh, I'm off to save the princess.
That's not bad. Yeah, I'm quite amazed on that, and but basically, people said I played a villain quite well, and all the voice acts I've done. They say I do the villain quite well. I'm like, that's. I don't know if that's a good thing. That's a bad thing because
No, I hear that in your voice. I can tell you could be a villain. Yeah.
it'd be like,
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I've done both. So, yeah. And sometimes I enjoy being the villain. It's kind of fun.
well, I don't know for me because I want to be the good guy. I want to be
I
like,
don't even get
save the princess. Okay, no. Oh, I'm gonna take the princess and I'm
I
gonna log her in the basement. People go, that's good.
yeah.
Or I could wear my Ozzy Osbourne glasses and go like, ha 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 ha. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
Secret Service or something. Yeah, well, this is great. So, why did you want to choose a career as a voiceover artist? What? Tell me about when you were growing up. Is this something you wanted to do, or?
I didn't get into it was singing that I really loved. I started as a singer
Mhm.
in actually junior high
Wow.
choir.
Hmm.
And so I've been singing a good deal of my life and I really loved singing. Um, and I still enjoy it, you know? Um, and so, but then I got bored with choir. I mean, standing up there in a black dress, it gets boring after a while. And so I looked around and then I didn't know what I could do with my singing other than choir. And then a blind date took me to a Gilbert and Sullivan production, who
Wow.
on the back of their program said, "We need chorus members. Come audition." And
Wow.
so I did. And so in the next production, I was a fairy in Iolanthe.
Hmm.
And so then I got to sing and dance around the stage and wave a wand around. And it was like, whoa, this is way much more fun than standing in a black dress in choir.
That sounds good. Yeah.
So that's how I got started in acting, was, in a musical theater chorus. And then I got bored with standing in the back and I wanted to stand in the front. And so that meant acting lessons and yeah.
Yeah. It says you. Well, that's interesting. I really appreciate that openness. Yeah, and I guess people who have um, really good voices are good to do voice acting, and then you have the type that you know do something else, like even singing. Like you sound good singing, and you sound good with your voice acting is really good.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah. So, why tell us about the indie films that you do?
Oh
What?
yeah. I've done several. I think the majority are on my IMDB page.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I'll check it out.
and it's just, the church laid into pictures is just funny. And I've played a villain. I was a witch in Seven Witches.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Because it was produced out of LA, but there were a few LA actors for the location shoots up here, but most of us were Washington State actors. But it was enough of a budget. We had custom made costumes.
Nice.
So that was really fun. Um, However, using a porta potty when you've got a long, you know, um, multi-layered dress on is not fun. Had Victorian costumes. So, it was a skirt, the overshirt, then, then a jacket. And then it was a really wonderful costume. But it was a challenge sometimes in the outdoors because we had a lot of outdoor shoots.
Well, that sounds good. Have you ever met a celebrity during your time of voice acting?
Voice acting?
Yeah, like Nicole Kidman or Danny DeVito or whatever. They would do a lot of voice acting for films.
Um, Not in my voice acting.
Like,
As an actor, I do know. I know Lisa Coronado. She played the doctor in Z Nation. or the zombie series that was shot here in Washington.
Oh, that's cool. So
Oh
tell
yeah.
us about that movie, The Dinner Table.
Oh,
Um,
the dinner table. That was really it's a wonderful short.
mhm.
And that's the first time I've ever had to eat a lot on film.
Yeah.
We spent, it was like they made us a dinner, and then for like 6 hours,
Whoa.
and they kind of refreshed the food along the way, and it's like,
Whoa.
that was really interesting. And
Delicious.
yes, it was excellent food. It's just like, eating it over 6 hours was wow. That was a challenge because it takes place around the dinner table, all the scenes. So
The dinner table. Yeah. Okay, I see. What it's like that movie,
yeah,
Dinner with Andre. It's just the
yeah,
whole movie is based with a dinner with
yeah,
Andre in a
yeah,
diner, I think. Um,
yeah. So that was it was yeah, and we were in a house. They had they rented someone's home. So um,
well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
noticed that you played Anne Sklar in Seven Witches. Um,
Yes, that was the witch role.
did you like that one?
Yes, that was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun. Because we had some beautiful locations that we shot at over on the Limerick Peninsula. Um, and that was where the costumes were specially made for us. So and I got some good reviews on some horror websites. They're like, yeah, she did a great job as a witch. So
Do you have to go over it over and over again to get it perfect? Like, what if you do like accidentally you mispronounce a word, or how
oh,
do you,
it's usually they just do it, you know, uh reshoot that scene or reshoot a little bit of that scene. It's yeah.
and do
Yeah,
you,
it's
and I guess it's a script, eh? So you know when you're supposed to speak and when the other speaks.
yeah. Yeah, and actually a lot of it I only had a few speaking lines and they got all cut out, but still
Oh, really?
yeah, it was
How
yeah,
dare they?
but still I have a lot of, FaceTime um on it in the film, and a lot of the cooking scenes, it's my hands because we were actually
Oh,
cooking and they were filming that.
oh, wow.
So yeah, that was um and then I remember the director asked me to come back. He wanted to shoot some more cooking scenes, and
Nice.
so he had a bunch of fish that he had gotten to cook because we were in an area where you'd be cooking lots of fish.
Hmm.
Um, and it was like, okay, chop this fish's head off. And it's like, then he had some smelt. It's like, smelt, we discovered to our dismay that smelt are mushy and you can't really chop them.
Oh,
But then it's like I left and we got done with the filming, and his poor cat was sitting there going, am I going to get some of that? It smells really good. But I left and oh my gosh, I was just permeated with fish smell.
oh my goodness.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh
a lot of hand as cat food is just salmon and whitefish, and
yeah,
sometimes it just gets on my fingers and I'm smelling and like I hate to work in
yeah,
a factory that
yeah.
makes this stuff. Like,
Yeah. I was just like a walking fish bomb. Yeah.
wow, yeah. Like if I was a fisherman, I probably would come in and smell like a fish all the time. I prefer just to not smell like anything that people would avoid. So how come I don't have any friends? Oh, because you work in a fish factory? Oh yeah.
Yeah, boy, you need a shower every night. Oh
I
man.
know.
Wow.
Um, this is like wow. So is there stress and pressure on that? Like would there be stress and pressure on a voice act? Like because you're not really in front of
Voice
a camera. You're just using your voice. So how would
The 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 toughest thing about voice acting is there's not another person to react to. So you have to sort of have it in your head, a scenario of what's going on. So what you're doing sounds real. Like it really, like you are having an interaction, even though you can't have it. It's sort of like, if you're acting with a green screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
I have to synchronize it with the like then show
yeah,
you how they do the Star Trek scenes with Picard and Riker, any movie like that where you're actually looking out at the window of a ship and you see like
yeah,
the planets and stuff. You're actually speaking to like a green screen or blue screen, and person behind you is actually saying the next line, and then they cut it and they insert it. And
only with voice acting there isn't even anyone there saying the next line. It's sort of I sort of have a movie or picture in my head while I'm doing the voice acting.
No, but also when the voice acting is recorded, don't they do a lot of editing as well? Because you might accidentally burp in it or something, or do you just?
Oh yeah. If I make a mistake, it's just like start that sentence over again, and you never know. You can if you're doing an audiobook especially, you can't read through the whole thing to find out where there's a problem. It's all of a sudden you're going along and all of a sudden there's a problem. It's like, you get tongue-tied, you run into a word that, I thought I knew how to pronounce that word, or I thought that word was not that hard, and it's all of a sudden difficult.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find some words here. Basically, you actually there's a woman, I forget her name, but she's the actual voice of Siri.
Yes.
And she got paid for that. So she went on a show and she did the whole Siri thing. And now when I do Siri, this is what happens. Hey, Siri. Oh, shoot, got to get this. You're like, hey, Siri. Oh, you know what? I must be off or something. What happens now, the update, well, this is funny. The Siri in the past is a, hey, Siri. Yes. Now the update, you get, hey, Siri. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, wow. What? Hey, Siri.
Mm-hmm.
See? Hey, Siri.
Good evening. How can I help?
Hey, Siri. That's something. Yeah, she goes, uh-huh.
Yeah, I heard that. Wow.
I'm like, okay, can you set my alarm, please? And before it was, hey, Siri. Yes. And now it's like, honey, I bet you next update is going to be like, what do you want?
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
But sometimes I do the same thing with my brother. He calls and go, you have reached the automated Kris messaging system. I am not available at the moment. Please press a number and he will get back to you. Beep. And then you hear in the background, boop. I'm like, wow, that's a joke.
Yeah.
But that's excellent. So, but is there a job that you've said no to?
Yeah, I've said no to a couple audiobooks that were poorly written. Yeah.
Wow, tell us more about that. Poorly written?
Yeah, just sometimes you get people wanting to make their books into an audiobook, and it's like, yeah, this just isn't well written. Yeah.
I should have sent you the I've completed 2 children's books. I haven't got them published yet, but one is called Maggie Ruffin.
Uh-huh.
And one is called Little Sarah Little.
Uh-huh.
And I should have just had you like read it, because I'd be interested in knowing how. I mean, people say, who would you want to narrate your life? Would it be Morgan Freeman or would it be Patrick Stewart?
Oh.
So every time I read something, I kind of hear myself reading it as Morgan Freeman, because he's got voice, right?
Yeah.
So I should have sent it to you because it'd be interesting if you could just read it, just see how it
Oh
sounds.
yeah.
Yeah.
You bet. Yeah.
What have you ever poorly written yet? Sorry, I mentioned. Tell us more about that poorly written. Like you saying that the person would literally just write something quickly just so that they could just get it out there, even
Yeah,
though.
it sounds like it's just been dashed off, or there's a
Uh,
lot of grammatical errors, because if there's a lot of grammatical errors, it's really hard
how do
to.
you know it's good grammatical errors? How do you know it's a good written?
You
How
can
do you know it's written well?
yeah, you can tell just by getting the scripts. So yeah.
Yeah, I read some books. Some of it was written well, and some of it was like written as if this person was a lawyer. You ever read a book and it took you so long to get through the first page because it just the way it's written?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This guy was a lawyer, I think. He's still
Yeah.
writing like a lawyer.
Yeah.
So, describe a difficult project and how you overcame it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I worked with an author that it's a wonderful book.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Aftermath, a novel. And I narrated it, I gave it to her, and she's like, well, I don't like the way this is done. I want to change the wording. And it's like, no, how do I politely say, an audiobook version is not the chance to re-edit your book. And I've heard that can be a problem, that authors, get the book published, then they hear someone narrate it, and then they want to make changes. And it's like, no, that's not the idea of an audiobook. Your audiobook needs to be like your book.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge. Yeah. To
Now, what about commercials? Like, how about the car commercials, or maybe doing a commercial for Walt Disney World, or doing a commercial for well, here we have the Tim Hortons coffee shop, but I guess Washington, let's say Starbucks called you, and well, we have Starbucks here too, but Starbucks called you and said, hello, Kris Keppeler, we want you to do a voiceover for a Starbucks commercial. Could you do it?
wow, I don't do a lot of commercial work. So it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't like so much commercial copy well, I just find it boring.
Oh, by the way, Kepler, we have also it's $10,000.
Oh yeah, if you want to pay me to yeah, it's I do I don't get a lot of I have an agent here in town. And she does send me some commercial stuff, but it's as far as voiceover goes, it's not a lot, because they let's be frank, it's the young, bubbly voice that they prefer, not old, mature voice.
Well, I mean, I guess being a voiceover artist, you can actually sound like someone who's young, can't you?
Yes, there are many women voice actors who sound young, continue to sound young. I do not. I have, there is something about my voice. It immediately sounds wise and older, and there is nothing I've been able.
Yeah. There's a woman I sing with, and she said herself that she sounds like she's 12 years old, even though she's like 54.
Yep.
And she even notices it herself. And I'm like, well, it's a sweet little voice, but everyone, like, I don't know how I sound to people. I'm hoping that I sound like this to people, but apparently when I record my voice and I play it back, I sound like this. I don't know, but I could.
So I don't, but I do get commercial acting auditions when they want a grandmother.
Oh,
So,
yeah?
Yep. In fact, I just did a self-tape this week. So,
Oh, good.
or a commercial, yeah. Where I was playing grandma. Always play grandma. So, which is, hey.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. What about don't you have any equipment at home that you practice with? Like you would just say to maybe your daughter or your children or whatever, give me one of your books and I want to do a voiceover for practice. You ever done that?
Well, what I consider practice is my podcast.
Okay.
Because I'm doing, I do some character stuff. Because I'm doing the story because I like the story and it fits in my theme. And if it's got characters, I do the characters. So, and I'm auditioning a lot too. So I'm going to be doing different character voices for auditions. So,
Well, you do a good witch. So what if
yes.
what if no, I'm saying that I'm just giving you a scenario. So you play good witch and then there's 40 voice actresses or voice actors for warlocks, whatever, doesn't matter.
Yep.
And a lot of them sound like witches.
Yep.
And then they say we want her instead.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty emotionally when you know that you want this so much and yet you don't get it because you don't sound like this person over here who's probably 18 years old. She's a voiceover actress and she sounds more like a witch in her 90s than someone like you who's probably 31, 32 years old. And but the jobs, like, there's always what for every job and every employment, and whether you're an actor, you're a musician, you're whatever, you're trying to audition for even a part in a musical. You may not get it, but you tried your best.
Yep.
There's always challenges, and there must be some sort of feeling you get when you get that job.
It's elation when you get the job, because it's so, when you do it, I've been doing it for a long time now. I've been acting for over 20 years. So you just go out there, you do your best job, and then you forget about it. And then sometimes they call you and you go, yay.
We heard your last audition and we want to hire you to play in this series. We don't know how long it'll last, but play this series. We want you to be the grandma or something. We want you to we want you to play Aunt Margaret or something.
Yep.
Then you have to play that voice that you got the job as Aunt Margaret and say, do you want me to do the voice that made me get the win the audition as Aunt Margaret, or do you want me to work on a different voice? They may say, no, we want the one you auditioned with, or no, you got the part, but we want you to put kind of like Aunt Margaret, sort of like she sounds more like whatever.
Yeah. Usually you find that they're going to pick one of the voices that you auditioned with. Because, that's what they heard and they liked. So, and it's not unusual because I'm still working on it, and it's almost going on 2 years. I've been voicing e-learning scripts that teach math to kids.
Nice. Wow.
And so the project started out, I was doing scripts every week, and then it sort of stopped after 3 months. And then they're like, oh, and then, 4 months later, they said, oh, we need some more. And so more scripts. Wow. And so I had to remember, but I had to sound like that person. I still have to sound like that person 2 years later when I voice those scripts. So lots of times I go back and listen that, I'm in the right mode. I've done it for so long now, I automatically get into that mode, which is they wanted a grandmotherly tone. So it's like my grandmotherly tone, speaking with children and teaching them things. And that's...
Well, that show with Louie, I know Louie Anderson had passed away recently.
Yeah.
but he got the job playing this mother female, and he measured off his own mother. So he
Yep.
actually said he was playing his own mother. Have you ever
Wow.
thought of, yeah, in fact, the way she acted, the way he did her voice,
Uh-huh.
was his mother. Did you ever think of maybe playing one of those characters as maybe like your own grandmother or someone you actually knew, or you just prefer to make up your own type of voice?
You know, I prefer generally to make up my own voice. The one time the time that I wouldn't do that is when they want a synthesized a voice that sounds synthesized, that it's AI,
Oh,
artificial intelligence.
oh,
And
really?
then the only way I found to easily do that is I channel Hal from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, and
What are
that's
you
what I
doing,
think
Dave?
about.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. How would you do that? How would you say in that voice, "What are you doing?" How would you do that? What are you doing, Dave? How would you say that?
What are you doing, Dave?
Oh my goodness, that's perfect. Wow, you're right. You're right.
That's why,
Yeah,
and I can't I
sounds
can't
good.
do any kind of AI without thinking of Hal. And then it usually comes off okay, but otherwise it's like, no.
That
But
AI
think of
is
Hal and
interesting.
it comes out.
Yeah, I used to be well, I don't say I used to be a programmer, but I used to do a lot of programming, voice and AI. And one of our projects was to create a talking parrot. So
Uh-huh.
program for ordering pizza, and then the parrot um, would say what you said. So you want pepperoni? You want right? You want pepperoni? And I want onions. Ah, you want onions? And you would have to hard code it in there. So it would be like if I say I want onions, then the parrot has to say onions. If they didn't understand you, then you would hard code it. Please repeat that, right? And it was kind of
Yeah.
interesting. And I noticed that there are some words that the AI voice can't really pronounce properly, like
Oh.
um, like the word disabled or something, because you would have you'd have to pronounce it by taking the word dis, so ab disab, and then eld, and then put it
Oh.
together, disabled. If you didn't, you'd end
Yeah.
up with disabled. And I notice that when I'm on YouTube and I'm hearing a lot of the voiceovers, I'm just listening, that's not a real person. And you got the woman saying, "And when they took a film of this, they opened the door and they found a dead bird on the floor." And I'm thinking, that's an AI, because I noticed that some
Yeah.
of the words, and now they have what is called real voices.
Yes.
Actually, it sounds like a real person, but it's an actual updated AI, so it actually knows how to pronounce words.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's not perfect.
They're also taking real voice actors and then um using their voice to then do sort of a
Yeah, that's true. A
generate an
lot of them,
AI from that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they do that, and it's very dangerous sometimes when you think of it. So, what makes you so passionate about just doing this? Like you were a singer, you're a voice actor, you're an actor. Why did you just go this way and become a voice actor? Why didn't you just say, okay, I want to do some singing? Oh, and I want to do this. I want to do this. Why did you stick with the one thing? You enjoy it that much?
I still really enjoy acting,
Mm-hmm.
and like I say, I'm still involved in that. I do a lot of training and training simulations as an actor, which I find to be really fun.
Oh yeah.
Um, and hopefully we'll have more work coming in. They just we have much larger incentive programs to bring TV and more films here. into Washington this coming year.
Oh, that's
So
good.
yeah, so that's good. And but I think I love the voice acting the most because it just, I love combining my singing and acting skills. It just combines the two. And I love the acting and I love singing. And so I get to do both, when I step in front of the mic. And I get to use, with voiceover, I get, especially in this area, a chance to do a lot more. So I get to do a lot more with, my acting and singing with the voice acting. So
That's amazing. What would you consider was your biggest voice acting job?
Oh, biggest voice acting job. Certainly, I think I narrated an entire series of books on Wicca.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like 12 books. I lost count after a while how many books that was. It was really enjoyable, though, because I learned about something I didn't know about, and they're really highly rated books. So they're well written, so it was really great to do. But it was sometimes I do as many as 4 a month.
4 a month?
Yeah, 4 a month. It's like a book a week. So that was definitely, yeah, that was a challenge. And then the author decided to put longer audiobooks sell better, so she wanted to put bundle some of the related books she had together into one big audiobook. And then I would do that also. So I had to figure out how to bundle, audiobooks, and I had to make special intros. And that was definitely the largest, most challenging project that I did, because it was a lot of books over just a few years. So
Wow, I can imagine that. It must be getting tiring at some point. Like, what
I just doing 4 books in 1 month, that was tiring. Usually I do a book every few months, which wasn't bad. They're not long books. They're usually 2.5 hours. So that's not bad.
And what do you think is actually, I'm going to forget that question here. What do you like most about your job as a voice actor? It's like, what do you like about it? Is it because you'd rather use your voice? What do you like about it? Why is it? You understand the question?
Yeah, since the Seattle area doesn't have a lot of acting jobs available, it means I can do my acting on even a weekly basis, because I'm always, because there's a lot more voice acting work that I can do, because people around the world need English, American English voiceover. So I have clients. In fact, that author that I work with all those books, she's from the UK.
Oh,
And I've worked with clients in Australia, Singapore, the Middle East,
wow.
Eastern Europe. Yeah, so I can work with and people all over the United States. So it's really fun to get to work with so many different clients all over the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of good voice actors and actresses in the UK because of their accent, their strong accent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. But there's also a lot of American actors that can actually put on these accents. You just use what is linguistics, like what do you call a linguistics coach, who can teach you how to
Yes.
speak they can teach you how to speak Scottish.
Yes.
The way you with your voice, yeah. That must be interesting. So how do you find your work? Do they come to you, or do you? What if you're left without a voice acting job for a month? Do you knock on doors and ask them why, or do you always have something to do? Does it just keep coming in?
Generally, yeah, I'm constantly auditioning and looking for work. Sometimes I have dry periods. That's the thing with being a freelancer. But I'm really working on, at this moment, looking for voice acting jobs that, keep giving you work, like YouTube channels, where you're the voice of that channel. And
Mhm.
that means you're doing, so much work. I look for e-learning jobs like that one I had, where I must have done close to 100 scripts for
Wow,
that math videos for kids.
amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really concentrating on voice acting where, it's a longer term. So
Do you take advantage of your voice acting? Like who's the voice on the voice answering machine? Is it yours?
I don't really do a lot of that work. Again, it's kind of boring.
No, I understand that. So, um, how reliable is the work that comes in? What if you get a lead, you go in, and they say, "What are you talking about? We never sent you." Do you get scammed a lot by maybe voice acting jobs or?
Not a lot. You can usually tell.
Hmm.
You can usually tell, oh, this is a scam. Yeah, yeah, this is a scam.
And
It's pretty easy to tell. Yeah.
do they
Either
actually? Yeah, go ahead.
either it's too much money for what they've written because they don't really understand how voiceover works and how payment works. It's like, oh, these people have no idea. And those are usually scams. The way things are written, oh, we want you to, do this and find this studio. And it's like, no, that's a scam.
Oh, well, you know that
Or they
already.
don't, it's like they're talking about narration and commercial work. And it's like, no, these are separate things. So that's a scam, So yeah. There are a lot of tells, yeah, that you learn to look for. So
Do they know if your voice has been modified when you send them an audition? And do you do a lot of auditions over the phone?
I don't do anything over the phone. I do them all in my studio. The
Okay.
only I do use my phone to do video auditions. In fact, that's our my partner helps me with video auditions, and that's our preference to use my phone for the video auditions. But I don't use it for voice acting. I mean, my studio's like 2 feet that way. So it's, I want to do a quality, and a lot, most want to hear that you're going to give them a quality, and they're not going to hear that with a phone audition. So
Yeah. What kind of equipment do you use? You mind me asking?
I have a Rode NT1A mic
Yes. Perfect mic.
connected to
Yes.
a audio box USB that's connected
Excellent.
into my
Yeah.
laptop. And so that's pretty standard stuff. My DAW, my digital audio, is kind of a software is very weird. It's AVS for You. I believe it's out of the UK. It's a media suite, and I really like it because, well, it was easy to learn the audio editor, but I use all the other audiovisual parts of it too on a regular basis because, with video auditions now, I'm not only the actor, my partner helps me with the lighting, and then I have to edit it. So I use the AVS for You video editor to edit
Oh, good.
my,
Yes.
you
Excellent.
know, yeah. So I use the whole suite of programs on a regular basis.
Have they ever asked you to use some sort of auto tune to make your voice sound different than it does? Would you say no to that if they said, well, listen, we don't want your regular voice, we want you modified? Is that a
Yes,
no to you?
no, I have done that, especially if they
Okay.
want AI,
Okay.
something that's very AI, and I can my my DAW, my audio editor. Yes,
Mhm.
I can add different sound effects, and I have done that. And actually, I have a sample in my samples and demos that I've occasionally sent out. If they said, "Well, we want an AI like voice, and what do you got? That we can."
Yeah.
That's what I send out. It's been altered.
Yeah. So tell us about this kind of thing that you would actually write. Like, what kind of genre do you like to write in?
In my writing, I write comedy.
Oh,
Because
good.
I have a Does This Happen to You series that I write for a
Okay.
serial publication, Chanillo.
Okay.
Um, but as far as the writing that I actually get paid for,
Hmm.
I write a monthly blog for an IT company about small business technology. I find technology interesting. I not only like using it, I like writing about it.
Do you have to
So,
research it or do you actually use it?
um,
Do they
no, I
give you like,
research it, and some technology I've written about, I've used too. Yeah, but
so they will actually
um,
send you free thing, and do they send you free?
no, generally I haven't. No, I haven't written a review because someone sent me stuff. Generally, if I review, I go to the review sites and sort of capture what's been reviewed out there and write my own review from.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool. I
yeah,
wrote a
but
lot of.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Generally, I'm writing original articles about small business technology. Yeah,
Well, that's awesome.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
And then the other genres of interest to me are leadership,
mhm.
and I'm going to start some writing more on leadership and specifically female leadership.
Okay.
And then I'm health editor for Women of Wisdom magazine, and I write articles on health and fitness on a regular basis for them.
Well, that's excellent. You keep yourself busy. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, because I'm into health and fitness. That's an area of interest to me.
Yeah.
I have in my garden. I have two. They're supposed to be elderberry bushes, but they're
Wow.
eastern elderberries, and so they love water. And what happens when you plant a plant like that in Seattle is you get a tree and not a bush. So I have elderberry trees. And so it was fun to write. I wrote an article about, elderberries are actually a superfood. And I wrote about, the different types of elderberries and all the wonderful things you can do with them. I actually cook with them. And I've made some jam. I've made elderberry syrup, which by the
Oh.
end, the first time I made it, it looked like I'd been flinging syrup throughout the kitchen.
Wow.
But I also cook with them because once you cook them, they're safe to eat and they're really great. If you cook them with chicken or pork, and make a
Wow.
sauce. Yeah.
Chicken or pork? Elderberry syrup. Wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So that was really fun to write about. Yeah, stuff that was growing. So
Yeah, my mom used to make jam, and she used to make raspberry jam, and then we had a gooseberry tree, and she made gooseberry jam. I'm like, what what is a gooseberry? And they taste awful. Gooseberries are awful. But
Oh,
I eat a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. I eat a lot of blueberries and strawberries, and my favorites are the carrot oranges and the pomelos. I eat a lot of bananas. I don't eat apples anymore. The apples sort of like you buy a whole bag of apples containing 10 apples, and you eat one a day, and by the time you finish the sixth apple, the last four apples are all rotten, and they don't last very long. So oranges are excellent. I always eat oranges. So, oh, I think you're frozen. Are you frozen? Yeah, I think you're frozen. I think your internet went down. Oh, there you are. Hello, testing 1 2 3. Can you hear me? Kris? Oh, yeah. I think you're. I don't think it's me. Yeah. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think she's frozen. Kris, if you get out and then you log back in, you should be fine. I think my internet is fine. There we go. Log back in. Okay, we had a little issue here with the internet, so we're just going to wait for her to pop right back in again, and then we'll bring her in, ask her a few Q&As, and then we're done. She just has a lot. Oh, just your internet. Okay, well, while we're waiting for her to come back, it was a very interesting conversation. Wanted to ask her some pertinent questions and two, 3 questions, then a question and answer. And yeah, so it's an excellent evening with Kris Keppeler, voice actor, podcaster, writer. So just wait for her to show back up again. So yeah, I did, like I mentioned to her, you all know that I'm on Small, and they do a lot of voice acting, and they did many scenes, and I usually do the scenes. And as I mentioned about doing the Jared Leto Joker, but doing the Heath Ledger voice Joker, it's a lot better because the Jared Leto voice as a Joker is not. I don't know. I just didn't really like him as a Joker. At the moment, I kind of do a lot more singing on Small, but I actually do a lot of voice acting. Let's see if Kris can just log back in here. I just have to. Sorry, everyone. Just log back in if. Yeah, she probably just lost the connection. I'm sure we'll get her back, and then what we'll do is we'll call it evening. But that was good. That was good with Kris Keppeler there. Yeah, it could be actually my side as well. With the internet, just it kicked a lot of people out. I had a podcast earlier, and it kicked them out for about 5 minutes, and they were all the way in the Czech Republic, so that was sort of interesting. So let's see if she's going to log back in. But at least we were able to enjoy the time with her. And in the moment, we'll just hopefully she can just log back in. She probably had to reboot her laptop or whatever she's using. And as soon as she pops in, we'll just bring her back in, and then we'll ask her a few more questions, and then we'll say goodbye. But yeah, I'm not saying it was perfect timing because we were about to end anyway. But it's kind of sad when one of my guests just suddenly the internet just kicks them off. But you know, you got to be a little bit more respectful and just relaxed and understand that technology has a mind of its own. Um, and I really appreciate this web software called StreamYard. All you who actually work there really appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I wonder if she's just going to pop back in because she just suddenly froze. She was kicked out. She just has to wait for her internet to go back on. So in the meantime, I have to speak and give myself a solo podcast and try to say interesting things and try to get this going. But it's fine. Relax. It's okay. You know, technology isn't the way it is, and things happen, and we're good. Excellent. Everything's excellent. So, yeah, we're going to talk about, demo reels. That's another thing. If you want to be a voice actor, I believe what I read in my research here is that you have to do voice reels. I've seen a lot of voice reels, especially. And I mean, you two have, what do you call it? Does demo reels for music? Oh, there she is. Excellent. And there you are. Hello. Yeah, it kicked you off. Technology is not the way it is these days, you know?
I know, it was so weird. Yeah, that's
You were
weird.
frozen for a while, and I was asking questions, and it's like you were just sitting there thinking, I'm not gonna. But yeah, it was the internet. I understand that. We were going to ask you a few questions for Q&A,
Yeah,
and then we were going to end the stream. So you kind of left
sure.
at the perfect moment, but not
Weird.
perfect moment because I hate it when one of my guests suddenly just kicked out because of technology, you know. And
Yeah,
so
it's
let's ask some question and answers here. What is a day in the life of a voice actor?
well, most times it's I don't I have sinus issues, and so I never plan to do anything with my voice until after 10 o'clock. And so mostly it's, getting up, walking the dogs, and then getting on my computer and looking for voiceover work or doing voiceover work if I've, got a book I'm working on or a script. Yeah. So that's spend a lot of time at my computer.
This person says, what in your life experience was most helpful to you in becoming a voice actor?
I would say being a good listener. It's yeah, it's important to listen to what your clients are saying. You spend a lot of time listening to how to pronounce things.
You,
So really developing an ear for what's going on with your client and what's going on as far as just listening to pronunciation stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you got to, especially when they say that when I have to sing in Italian, I have to pronounce every word.
Yeah.
You say word or word, like you
Yeah.
have to pronounce the whole word. And when you speak,
Yeah.
you have to make sure that people know what you're saying.
Yes.
If you just say, "Oh, we gotta know that people are saying," and people say, "What? Hello."
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's two more questions for you, Kris.
Yeah.
Um, do you work well within a team or solo?
You know, I work well with a team. I don't have a problem at all working with the team. But generally in voice acting, most of it's solo work. Whereas acting, I'm working with a team all the time. If I'm doing film or a play or even training videos, I'm working with a team. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. And then we'll just ask you one more question, then we'll say goodbye. But I really appreciate you. We appreciate excellent podcast. Yeah, that's right. One more thing about before I ask you a question about we want to talk about your podcast.
Yeah.
Where it can be found. We'll post it in the description YouTube channel. I've been to your podcast a couple of times, but it is a podcast specifically. You only interview voice actors and voice actresses and celebrities, or do you actually interview all types and all walks of life?
Actually, my podcast, Does This Happen to You, is not an interview show at all. It's a story.
It's a story, okay.
It's a story, yes. And let's see, it's been described as bite-sized fun because it's short. And I've also gotten kudos from more than one reviewer being a great storyteller.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So that's interesting because I saw you on being on other podcasts as well. You really get around.
Yeah, I like going on podcasts and being a guest. But my podcast is not interview. It's just like I say, bite-sized, funny stories. It's sort of like I describe it as a micro audiobook, a weekly micro audiobook.
Okay, I'll check it out. Usually when someone says podcast, they mean like interviews.
That's what's automatically assumed, but podcasts can be any kind of audio. Any kind. Excellent.
I like that. I really like that. One more question and we'll end the stream. Someone wants to ask I don't know if we discussed this. What types of books or magazines you typically read?
As far as my reading goes, I love science fiction and fantasy and thrillers, mysteries. Love mysteries. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember those 5-minute mysteries and Reader's Digest. Yeah, I used to read the Ellery Queen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, remember Ellery Queen? Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
Well, that's excellent. Kris Keppeler, thank you very much for the interview, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And thank you so much for coming back again. I know the internet and technology is like all over the place sometimes. And when this happens, I have to, try to keep it going with my solo work. It's sort of like. But thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So let's say goodbye, and I really thank you for this. And so goodbye, Kris.
Bye.
Bye.